What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mindset Mogul podcast. We are your hosts, Josh Jacobs and Bradley Mora, and we are back with a Q&A today. It's been a little while since we've done one of these, but got some good questions, and one of them very fitting for today, so want to jump in. But before we do, Brad, how are you doing, brother? What's going on today? What are you grateful for? What's going on?
Doing really good. Did a cold plunge this morning. It was actually my first one going solo. I usually go with a couple other people, but it's such a fantastic way to start the day. You just get this I still drank coffee, but you end up getting this energy from it for the entire morning and kind of into the afternoon. And
no seal today?
Say it again?
No seal today?
Yeah, no seal today. So yeah, grateful for that. I fasting today. So just grateful for the opportunity to do that. And it's a good start to the day.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm with you on the fasting. Fasting today, feel real good. It was pouring rain and now it's sunny. So grateful for that. Grateful for the awesome event I went to last night, which we'll talk about a little bit today on the pod. Before we jump in, I just want to say if you guys get any value from this episode, we would really appreciate it if you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Leave us a comment with your question if you want us to answer it, or just leave us a comment and tell us what you think. Give us a like. If you're listening on Apple, Spotify, Google, please follow us there and leave us a 5-star review. We would really appreciate it. So with that being said, let's jump into it. We have a question today from Carlos, and Carlos says, "Hi guys, I know the saying your network is your net worth, but I'm wondering what is the best way to grow my network with high value people? Aside from recently moving to a new city and knowing nobody, my old friends don't have the same values or mindset as me, and I'd like to make friends with people who do." Carlos, thank you so much for your question. Wondering where you just moved to, but congratulations on the move. And we could definitely dive into this. It's something we talked about before, and happy to talk about it for a long time because it's very important. So I guess the first thing that I would say is, me and Brad talk about this all the time, but you attract people to you, you attract who you are. So if you become a high value person, you will attract other high value people to you. And everything that we talk about after this is the reason this is the most important is because all the things that we're about to talk about, you have to be in a position where you are the best version of yourself so that whenever you do associate with these people in the ways that we're about to tell you, they are attracted to you because they can just sense the energy of, this person is the best version of themselves. I don't know a better way to put it, but becoming a high value person doesn't mean you have to have a ton of money, doesn't mean you have to, whatever you may think in your mind it means. Becoming a high value person to me means that you are pursuing becoming the best version of yourself. And you are putting in effort every single day in all areas of your life to be better. And that energy is contagious. That energy is attractive. People can smell that energy on you when you walk into a room. So before we talk about how to actually meet these people, it's important to understand that you want to meet them at your best self. You want to be the best version of yourself when you walk into one of those rooms and meet 50 people that you've never met before for the first time. If you walk in there and you're low energy and you aren't the best version of yourself and you've been lazy and you haven't been working and you haven't been focusing on your health and you haven't been doing any of the things that you should be doing, other people will sense that on you too, and you won't make as many connections, if any, when you walk into one of these rooms. So I think that's an important thing to start off with. Do you have anything to add to that, Brad?
I think you hit that really well. At the end of the day, if you focus on being the best version of yourself, you're naturally going... Yeah, there's no better way to say it than you said. You're going to...
Oh, that's good. That's good. All right. Well, one of the things that we were talking about too beforehand is I went to this event last night, and one of the VC speakers said, "Have a cup of coffee."
What's VC?
one of the venture capital guys so basically there was a handful of people that gave pitches. There was a handful of venture capitalists that were giving feedback to those pitches and answering questions from the audience. And one person in the audience asked a similar question to what you asked, Carlos, which is, how do I meet these people? How do I meet people that, are interested in investing in a type of product that I have? And one of the speakers, or one of the guys, said, have a cup of coffee with 50 different people. And by the time you get to cup 30 with the 30th person, your network is going to be widely expanded. And you may be wondering, well, how do you find 50 people to have a cup of coffee with? I mean, there's many ways to do it. One is you can reach out on LinkedIn, or you can reach out on other social media sites. It's funny, we were just talking about this, but like, people don't use social media now for what it was created for. Like, social media was created to connect with people. I have made so many friends from connecting with people on Instagram. I've made so many friends from connecting with people inside of Facebook groups. And by the time I meet these people in person, I'm already great friends with them because we've talked to each other so many times over the course of months, or sometimes even years before we meet each other in person. So you could do that through social. You can meet people at events. We'll talk about that, but you can meet somebody at an event, ask them to have a cup of coffee. Or you can actually strike up conversations in person. Like, you can go to a coffee shop and overcome your social anxiety of talking to some stranger. And you can say, hey, would you like to, just introduce yourself and strike up a conversation? I know that sounds tough to a lot of people, but people will be... If you do that, you will stand out immediately, because nobody does that anymore. Nobody goes and talks to strangers anymore. It's one of my favorite parts about having a dog is I go to the dog park, and it's the easiest way in the world to go and talk to people, because every dog owner talks to the other dog owners while their dogs are playing. But I know you just had a cup of coffee with somebody yesterday, Brad. Where did you meet that person?
At the coffee shop.
You met them at the coffee shop? Or
no,
I
didn't meet them at the coffee shop. I met him through a friend, actually, at the cold plunge. But like, he was a friend of a friend. And then I said, hey, like, separately, I reached out to him. I asked for the number from the other guy, got his number, and then asked him if he wanted to grab coffee, because I think he generally had insight on the market that our business is in. That I'm making it sound like I selfishly was doing that. But yes, it was... Met him, friend of a friend, and then took the opportunity to make him my friend, basically.
I think is it. You just wanted to go on a date with him.
Yeah, exactly. It's fine. It's just a coffee date. And I do think there is something to... This is a little less intimidating than the notion of approaching strangers in coffee shops, which, as a side note, if you want to do that and get the confidence to do that, go read the book, The Charisma Myth. And that will help you embody being the type of person that can go talk to people in coffee shops. Because there's a way to carry yourself that you'll get a better response from somebody if you're approaching strangers. And I think that book is like the playbook to go do that. So The Charisma Myth, I'm blanking on the author's last name. But back to the coffee shop, and just back to, I think another tactic that's in here is like, anytime you've got a friend of a friend, you've got a warm lead on coffee, but you don't want to leave that person as your friend's friend. You got to make him your friend. And so even though you just met that person at a thing, just in the same way, Josh, you were talking yesterday, how you like met the person at the event, you don't stop at just being an event friend. Make that secondary plan with just you and them to go seal the deal. And so you can really look at then like every happenstance, every situation you're in is an opportunity for you to take like a warm lead for being in the same place or knowing the same person to get that person out to coffee. And I think that's probably, if you're in the first 20 people of that 50, it's a good place to start, probably less intimidating. And great to meet you for coffee.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because part of his point was, look, you may have 50 cups of coffee with 50 people, and none of them may be a person that is going to invest in your product or is the type of person that invests in your product. But out of those 50, somebody knows somebody that knows somebody. And typically people want to help. Like, I know people have this fear of, they don't want to ask for help and they don't think people are willing to help them. But like, people like helping people. It's one of the most selfishly rewarding things in the world is helping people. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for a connection. Don't be afraid to ask for, somebody to connect you with, somebody they know, because people are happy to do it. Actually, one of the people in the audience reached out and said, I don't have a question for you. I just want to let you know. His name was Tony, the guy that made the coffee, suggestion. And one of the audience members said, Tony, I'm really grateful for you. The whole reason we're here right now is because you gave me 10 minutes on a Zoom and you wouldn't invest in me, but you knew somebody who may, and you made the connection, and that person invested millions of dollars into my business. Our business is rocking today, 3 years later, and we're crushing it, and we're here because I just wanted to say thank you. And that gave me goosebumps when I heard it in the session, because it's exactly what we just said. It was somebody who made a connection to somebody random, and boom, they invest millions of dollars. The business takes off, and it's all a fairy tale. But so yeah, that's super important. And then one of the other things you said, it's like, make plans, be proactive about actually meeting people. So like, when you go to an event, don't just go to an event and meet that person and then you're connected on social media and you never talk to each other except maybe liking a post or something like that. No, make a plan to follow up. I was telling Brad, I went to this event last night, and which, by the way, is one of the best ways to meet people ever. Like, if you guys have listened to the show, you've heard me talk about how much I love this mastermind that I joined and how many people I met. Well, last night was similar caliber of people. But it was cool because it was a local Chicago event. So I met a ton of people who not only live all around the country, but live here in Chicago. So I took that opportunity to say, hey, you live here? Great. Let's meet up in a couple weeks or next week or whatever. And now I got 2 dates planned with 2 people I met at the event last night. And hopefully they become a friend of mine now. And that's what I'm going to work towards, because we're very like-minded. We have similar values. We're on similar journeys. We're in similar paths we're in similar places of our journey, and we could add a lot of value to each other. So I'm taking the route of, being proactive and putting those things on the calendar, instead of just, because I've been the guy who have been to a million events and I keep in touch with people, but it's just a like on a post. It's a like on an Instagram photo. It's something like that, which, yes, there's benefit to that, but do more. Send them a message. Tell them one thing that you're grateful for. Tell them one way that you could potentially help him. Offer whatever value you possibly can, but keep the conversation going. Don't just make it a like or something like that. Use words, and they will go a long way. I promise you. What were you saying about? Were you saying about something about Twitter?
Oh yeah, I got a friend who he was on Twitter for like a month and taking it seriously, and like not building his brand, but just being active in the SMB community, small business community, because he's a fractional CFO. So he's just like working to make inroads, network on Twitter, and did it for a month, and then got connected with a guy. This guy at the time lived in Berlin, Germany, and him and this guy they met on Twitter. They got to talking. I'm not even sure that they met in person at this point, but fast forward like 4 or 5 months now, and the guy is moving from Berlin, Germany to Orlando to start a company with my friend. And so, like, crazy, right? He's leaving his family in Berlin. He's coming out to Orlando, and they're starting a business in the SMB space together.
That's the power of social media. That's like what it was built for in the first place, to make connections with people that aren't just your next door neighbor.
100%.
Nothing wrong with your next door neighbor, but maybe the guy in Berlin, Germany is a better fit to be your business partner. So
yeah. It's just like I think just increasing your surface area of people to connect with. It's the same thing as business. It's like you need to hit a critical mass and a volume that you get in touch with enough people that they want to buy your product. Well, the same kind of goes with making connections with people in life. It ends up being a numbers game. And so making it systematic, or just making it a muscle that you flex, that you build as many connections as you can, at some point will pay dividends no matter what you're doing. And I think the point you made too about going like there's a sweet spot for how deep to go. Obviously you can't be best friends with everybody, but going one level below the surface and also working to make that systematic or just being thoughtful, I think goes a long way to cement the networking that you're doing, the relationships that you're building, versus just keeping it on social media as an example. Like on Twitter, I'm pretty sure that they were just like, hey, let's hop on a call. They did a Zoom, and then things snowballed from there. But they took the one step farther, and then you don't know where that can actually end up leading. I think that opens up the door for everything you're talking about, for the millions of dollars to get invested. Is like, just make sure you open up the door to have some real human connection after getting the soft intro via the social media.
Yeah, I like the way that you put that, like take it one step further, because in my opinion, like, you know me, I love going to events. I love that in-person connection. And don't get me wrong, like I said, I've made a ton of connections on social media. I've literally been friends with people on social media for months, sometimes years, and then met them in person and felt like I've been their best friend forever because we talk all the time. But I love the physical in-person events. And to me, getting to an event is the door being opened. And then taking it one step further is, okay, let's connect on social media. And then taking it one step further is, okay, let's get a plan to go out to dinner or to grab a coffee. And then taking it one step further is, hey, how can I add value to what you're doing? And I don't need anything from you. I don't want anything from you. I genuinely just want to do whatever I can to help you, because again, there is a selfishness in helping people, whether it's somebody who is 10 steps ahead of you in business or whatever you're pursuing, or it's somebody who's 10 steps behind you. Either way, there is a very rewarding feeling to helping somebody. So to me, just to reiterate, door opens by getting to the event. I take it one step further by connecting with them on social media so that I know no matter what, I'm going to stay connected even after this event. I take the next step by solidifying either a call if it's someone who is, out of the country or out of the state, or meeting in person if it's somebody local. And then after that, I say, what can I do for you? How can I help you? Maybe there's no way I can help you. Maybe the only way I can help you is connecting you to somebody, or maybe just being an ear to listen to is a way to help you. I don't know what that is. Maybe I can't actually do something to help your business, but just offering goes a long, long way. And people really appreciate it. Again, whether they're 10 steps ahead of you or 10 steps behind you. So I would keep that in mind and take that approach, whether you're doing it in person or you're connecting with somebody on social media or you are randomly in a coffee shop, whatever the case may be.
This book I recently read, I think it's Nice Folks Finish First, but the title's a little, well, I guess it's not that misleading for the point I'm going to make, but this guy throughout until his late 30s, early 40s had a very me type of viewpoint on life and trying to get ahead. And then pivoted that to just being how can I help as many people as I can without anything and any expectation in return for that. And that's when his life started to explode. It was when he just made that shift to how can I help as many people as I can without any expectation for return. And then he built a $200 million business. And so just as a practical point of how that frame shift can work, I think, that was just a pointed example of what you're talking about is just, get out there and help people and be helpful to as many people as you can. And it's hard to believe that doesn't flow back to you in some manner, shape, or form.
One of the things that I'm most excited for is at some point this year, I'm going to get to 75 Hard Phase 3. I'm going to do Phase 2 next and then do Phase 3. And one of the things in Phase 3 is a random act of kindness. I believe it's meet 3 people a day. I forgot exactly what it is. I don't want to quote it right now on here, but it's something to do with meeting a new person every day and a random act of kindness every day. And luckily for me, I live in a very busy city, so I could just walk down the street and do it. But I'm really excited for that because one, it takes you out of your comfort zone, and two, it does exactly what you just said. Like putting that positivity out in the world is going to, with no expectation in return, is going to create some sort of positive karma. Like at least I'm not expecting the positive karma, but I just, now it sounds counterintuitive that I'm saying out loud, but like just the idea of doing that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's a good vibe.
Yeah. But do you have anything else to add before we go into the audience exercise?
No, I think this has been
okay.
Great.
So let's just make up an audience exercise on the fly. But I would say that, like, to me, the first step that you can take is opening the door. So whether that's attending an event, whether that's reaching out to somebody on Instagram or LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever it is, whether that's being in person at a coffee shop and deciding to just say something to the person next to you and strike up a conversation. I would challenge you to do that, because as soon as you do that once, you're going to realize how maybe you get a person that doesn't want to talk. But as soon as you do that once successfully, it's going to feel really, really good. Like, one of the reasons I love going to sitting at a bar when I'm at a restaurant, even if I'm not drinking, even if I'm just having water, I love sitting at the bar at a restaurant because it's such an easy way to start a conversation with the person next to you. And again, even if I'm not drinking, I just like to be able to say, hey, what's going on? Just how you doing? Just randomly strike up a conversation. And I'm telling you, I have met dozens of people that I keep in touch with simply by striking up a conversation in person at a bar. And some of those connections are really good connections. So just, I would challenge you to open the door in whatever way you see fit right now, whether that's attending an event, doing it on social media, or doing it in person. But I would challenge you to do it in person at least once and see how it feels. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Brad, but that's what I would say.
No, that was fire.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. If you made it this far, we really, really appreciate you. If you got value out of this episode, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Leave us a comment with your question and we'll answer it. Or you can email that into support@mindsetmogul.com. Follow us on Google, Apple, Spotify, all those places. Leave us a 5-star review. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Take care. We'll see you in the next episode.